Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my live for today. So, what's the subject for today? Well, we are going to talk about PERM. I've done lots of lives and videos on that. But today, I want to concentrate on two areas of the PERM. I want to concentrate on what does it mean, the minimum requirements, and the language option. Okay? PERM is not the prettiest, best, most exciting immigration topic on the planet, but it happens all the time. And if you're going to be coming to the U.S. on an employment-based visa for the green card, there is about an 80 to 90% chance you're going to be doing the PERM. So it's important. Okay? So, what I'll do is I'll do my spiel and then I'll answer all the questions you have. So, write your questions for me and then I will get back. I'll scroll up and get back. You don't have to repeat the question. Okay? I have some people who every 3 minutes they will repeat the question literally 10 times. And then I have to scroll through the whole thing while I'm getting to the other questions, having to bypass the repeated question. Okay, so just ask me once, I'll get back with you. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. So first things first, PERM is the first process that is needed for an employment-based visa. Okay, and technically, it is not you that files the PERM. It is the employer that files the PERM for you. Okay? And technically, if you want to get real technical, it's not even filing it for you. It's the PERM. The bottom line for the PERM is to show that there are no available U.S. workers. That's the bottom line. Now, there's a lot of stuff you have to do for it. There's a lot of procedures. There's tons of requirements. But that is the result of if it is certified, is the Department of Labor saying, yes, you have proven there's no available U.S. workers for the petition. Okay. Now, just as an aside, the employer has to pay for the attorney's fees for the PERM and the advertising fees, of which you, the employee, can neither pay nor reimburse in some nefarious manner in the future the costs of it. Okay, that's the bottom line. You have to understand that if the employer wants to help you with a PERM, I mean, they really have to help you. They have to petition and pay. Okay, the other ones you can pay. You know, there's different other petitions to ultimately get the green card, but the PERM they have to pay. Okay, so one of the big elements of the PERM is that you have to put the minimum requirements needed for the job, no more. Okay, so whatever the job is, you know what, I mean, they know what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to mold the job description around the employee so that you can easily show no one else is qualified other than the employee. And they know you're going to do that. So you have to do just the minimum requirements required by all kinds of documentation. You know, they have what's called the OOH, the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, all this stuff that shows what the norm is. So let me give an example, okay? Let's say that you want to hire a mechanical engineer, okay? So, if you were going to have it your way, you would say, well, you want a mechanical engineer with 12 years experience, has, experience in this and this and this and this, and also speaks Taiwanese, okay? And if you take a little look at, let's say, the employee that you want to hire, you find that the The potential one just magically happens to speak Taiwanese and magically happens to have 13 or 14 years of engineering experience, okay? So that clearly is going to be denied because they know what you're doing. So when you look at the OOH and the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, I'm using all kinds of initials. It'll also have an SVP, which is the level that it is at, okay? And it has what basically it has determined are the normal requirements for the job. So let's just say, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't say for 100% sure that's going to do, but let's just say, okay? So what's going to happen is you look at it, and for an engineer, mechanical engineer, it might say something like you need a bachelor's in engineering, okay? And we'll say that, for example, this might be SVP 3 or 4, okay, as far as levels go. That helps determine the wage. And it might not say a thing about language requirements, okay? And it might say typically a person in this category will have a couple years experience, okay? So keep that in mind, because when you do the PERM, you being the employer, and for example, you put 12 years experience are required, but you look at the OOH, and it says typically only 2 years experience are required, that's a 10-year difference. You can't make a rational argument why you need 12 instead of 2. Okay? I mean, it's something if you want to hire, for example, the director of engineers, okay, who's going to oversee all of the other engineers, or the director of a department type thing, okay? Then, of course, when you look at the OH, they'll have a lot more years experience, okay? You also have to look at what the degree requirements are, because maybe your guy has a degree in something unrelated to engineering, but he's been doing engineering a long time, and you want him because you like him and so forth. And you can't work the degree around exactly whatever he happens to have. Let's say he has a degree in astronomy, okay? You can't say in the PERM that you want someone with a degree in astronomy when you're advertising for a mechanical engineering position. Now, there's ways of making it work, okay? Like, for example, when I'm talking about all the years experience this guy has, you'll want to offer a supervisory position, not just a regular position. But understand by doing that, the prevailing wage is going to go up. And you want to make sure that if you do the degree and he doesn't have the degree, you have to do the normal degree. So engineering degree for sure, okay, given this example. But then you also can say, or any scientific related degree, because, you might be able to get other people who have other scientific type degrees but have the necessary experience. So you might say a scientific related degree with 4 years experience in engineering versus an engineering degree with 2 years experience. Okay, see, there's ways of doing it. There's ways of making it work without making it seem as though you're working around the employee. Does all this make sense? Okay, I mean, it can go in circles when you think about it. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to talk about was the language requirement, because obviously when you're doing a PERM, you have somebody in mind you want to, ultimately petition to work for the company, right? And it's highly likely that person speaks a different language. So the first thing that goes through your mind is, well, we'll keep with the engineering degree example. I'll just tell them they need that they need to know Taiwanese. Okay. So that is a big, huge red flag when it goes through, because they know you're doing this, right? They know you're trying to work it around the employee. So the first thing they're going to ask you is, why do you need someone who speaks Taiwanese who's an engineer, because they've looked at the OOH, they've looked at the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, and nowhere in there does it say that language is a requirement to be a mechanical engineer. So if you're going to do that, which you can, you can, but you have to, if you're going to do this, you have to understand you have to prove the business necessity of doing it. Okay, what does that mean? You have to show that if you say there is an English requirement, Taiwanese English requirement, you have to show that your business, for example, your mechanical engineering business, has a lot of customers in Taiwan, has a lot of contracts in Taiwan, has a lot of parts, for example, that they get from Taiwan, has a lot of contractors in Taiwan that you have to have your mechanical engineer speak with and explain what needs to be done and so forth. Okay, obviously, if you're doing a decent amount of business in Taiwan and you're having customers that have technical questions about the product and about what needs to be purchased or what contracts need to be entered into, you're going to need to have an expert or someone who is both an engineer and who knows the language, okay? So if you get over that business necessity, then you can do the language requirement, okay? So in sum, when you're doing the PERM, you have to do only what the minimum requirements are for the position, meaning if you want more, make the position so it has to be more qualified, which in turn means you're going to pay more money per hour. Okay? And if you're going to add a language requirement, you absolutely, positively have to do the business necessity explanation for it, and it has to be for real. Okay, you can't just say, well, I want someone who speaks Taiwanese because they make better engineers. Okay, obviously that doesn't prove business necessity. All right, so that's the bottom line with this section of PERM. So let me scroll back here and see if we have any questions, and then once I'm done with my live, I'll go do my other consults. Let's see what we have here. Hope everybody's doing good today. Okay. I'm just scrolling down now. Be patient with me. Just seeing if we have any questions. We have lots of people that joined, but so far, not a lot of questions. Let's see. It said here, pin, if you want to, pin here your goal of 5 roses, and then I didn't put this. It says, if you do this, I'll sing a song. It should say, if you do this, I won't sing a song. Okay, let's see. Let's see, just a second. Sometimes we just, don't have a lot of songs. A lot of songs. a lot of questions. Okay, can I seek asylum in the USA if I have a protected person status in Canada, but I have a U.S. citizen uncle? That has nothing to do with immigration. First of all, I don't know what protected person status in Canada means. Okay? If you are not a citizen of Canada, you are unlikely going to be able to apply for asylum. If this means that you're a citizen of somewhere else, but Canada has issued you some type of residence to be able to stay there, that makes it even less likely you're going to be able to apply for asylum, because a rule says that if you've gained residence in a third country other than the one you're claiming from asylum, you don't qualify. Okay? Additionally, you having an uncle in the U.S. is irrelevant. It has nothing to do with asylum. In order to get asylum, you have to prove persecution in your home country. Okay, do you see that how you explained the question has nothing to do with showing me why you fear going back to your home country, what persecution you've suffered, whether you're under one of the 5 enumerated categories of asylum? Okay. All right. Let's see. I can't believe that an immigrant like Elon Musk is putting American citizens out of work. I'm right with you. Okay. What do they say? You're preaching to the choir. That's how it is. We gotta deal with this for 4 years. Okay. But there's lots of lawsuits going out there. There's already been a bunch of injunctions that have been issued against him. So he doesn't have carte blanche to do what he thinks he's going to do. There's a lot of people who follow the law, who filed lawsuits prohibiting him from doing what he thinks he wants to do. So we have to deal with it for 4 years. So, just keep your head up, keep a nice smile, and every day go. There's one day less you have to wait. Okay? All right. Are you going to answer our questions? I already answered your question. I just didn't answer it the moment you asked it because I was giving my spiel. Okay. Do you expect processing times to get faster? No. I expect processing times to get shorter. To get longer. The only thing that's going to get faster is the way they're going to try to deport people. And you're going to need an immigration attorney, okay, to protect you because they're going to do everything they can to push people out. And it's going to require attorneys to stop it. But one thing you can do right off the bat is don't sign anything. Okay? Imagine like you have a car, you're driving a car, and a policeman comes up and says, "Can I search your car?" And you think to yourself, well, I better say yes, because if I say no, he's going to think I'm hiding something. So I better say yes so he can search my car. And then, of course, you say yes. And that gives him the legal authorization to go and search everywhere in your car, which, of course, he's going to find drugs and, all the other stuff. My point is, not to hide drugs in your car, but my point is that you do not have to agree to let the police search your vehicle. You can say, respectfully, you can say, "No, officer, I do not agree, nor do I consent to a search." Okay, I bring this up because with immigration, when ICE officials come to you and they lie about what you have to do, you have to know that you have a right to not sign a thing. You can say to the officer, "I'm sorry, my immigration attorney told me I'm not supposed to sign anything. I'd like to see an immigration judge." Now, they may put you in detention, of which, you can make motions to bond out and so forth, but they can't just deport you if you're not going to agree to voluntarily sign, which a lot of people do because they're afraid and they think they have to. Okay? So there's your tidbit for today. All right. Let's see what else we have. Okay. I just have to scroll to the next question. Okay. Well, this is from, I don't know how you pronounce your name, Vijinjikjibjit. You're talking about perm processing, but you didn't ask a question. I don't know what your question is. You just put perm processing. That's what the video's about. Okay. It says I've got a flash goal. What does that mean? 3 gifters send rose to you live in 15 minutes. Pin. I started a flash goal. I don't know if you all can see that. Does that mean people can send me roses and then I meet my goal? And then if so, I'll give out a holler out to you. I'll say thanks. Okay. So, oh, thanks. Thanks, Amanda. Oh, I met my goal. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Thanks to Amanda. So here's a question. Hi, I filed my 601A. I got an RFE and it's saying letters 212A6D. Okay. So the RFE is a request for evidence, and what that means is you haven't properly proven your case, but you haven't submitted a load of nothing either. They're giving you an opportunity. You shouldn't be so concerned about the numbers, okay? You should be concerned about why they want the RFE and what evidence you need to bolster it. This is your opportunity to make it happen. You understand if this doesn't happen, the waiver's denied. Okay? So, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you properly submit the RFE. Okay? So, call my office, I'll help. Okay, I entered on a D1 visa 2002. Well, again, there's not a question, but you're talking about the C/D visa. It's never by itself. And that means that you most likely were a worker on a ship or something, or you entered on a plane with a transit visa, and instead of going to the other plane or instead of getting back to the ship, you decided to stay in the US. And you may or may not want to try to adjust status now. Which you don't, because you the question before you filed the I-601A. So I'd need to see more specifically, did you enter on a fake name? Did you enter on a fake green card? I mean, you entered on a D1 visa, but was it your name? Was there any fraud? Okay, I got my green card 3 months ago through marriage, but nothing is yet for my underage child should. And then there's no other, so I assume you ran out of space. Okay, first of all, if you got the green card through the marriage, the child is not automatic. Okay, it doesn't just magically get the green card with you. There has to be a petition. And whether it's a following to join petition or an immediate relative petition or a stepchild petition, I would need to ask you some questions to determine. But if you're thinking it's just going to happen and the child is just going to get the green card, that won't happen. Okay, you need to get the petition filed. Do you recommend doing advance parole now? No. The administration is doing everything they can to try to deny this, deny that. So you might leave on an advance parole and it might come back without an advance parole. The only way I'd recommend an advance parole in two situations. One, if you're clearly not inadmissible on anything, you have a clean case, and you're doing, for example, an adjustment in the U.S., you can file an advance parole and come back without a problem during the pendency of the adjustment. If you're in a situation where you have no waivers available to you because you have no qualifying relatives, you've been here for a long time, you have a lot of equities, and the only thing you need to prove is legal entry to be able to adjust as an immediate relative somehow. There's ways of trying to apply for a humanitarian parole or advanced parole so you can just leave and come back and then you have a legal entry. Okay, there's some risk to that, but in some cases where you have no other choice, that might be the best option. Okay. And Kaisha, you're worried. I understand that. The whole world is worried at this point, except the people in the U.S. who are not, which those are the ones in power. But we just have to keep fighting for a while. Okay. Hi, you came here on a K1, didn't overstay, no criminal history. Can I go to my home country on advanced parole safely? Why would you do that? Okay, you wouldn't go on the K1. If you came on a K1, that means you're supposed to get married. So if you came on the K1, assumably within the 90 days you get married, then you file the adjustment of status, then you file the advanced parole, then you can go home safely. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay. Let's see. Do you expect PERM processing times to get shorter? No! I remember when PERM started many, many years ago, and it was so fast, it was unreal. God, it was fast. It's just been getting slower and slower. Okay? And unless they, hire a bunch more people to adjudicate it at Department of Labor, it's not going to happen. And I guarantee you at this point in the administration, they have no intentions of hiring more people at the Department of Labor to make PERMs faster. Okay. Can I claim derivative citizenship from my dad if I wasn't in custody? I was born in 1996. There's a whole bunch of issues with that, I can't just say yes or no. It requires an analysis. There's lots of elements as to whether you qualify for derivative citizenship. Custody is just one of them, and in some cases it's not. Okay, so the citizenship law depends on when the events occurred and the law at the time. It's an interesting area of law. Okay, right. Let's see. What would be the waivers for adjustment of status? Well, if I had 4 hours in this live, I would go through all of them. There's a ton of different waivers in immigration law. Criminal, fraud, medical, public charge. Okay, there's all kinds. That's why I need to give a consultation so I determine which kind, so we don't have to go through the whole book. Okay? Okay. And then Jiang Hong Slave, you say I did, waiting for my green card. So I must have answered something up front earlier about this, but sorry, I can't remember which one was you. So text me. Have you had any of your clients get denied entry with advance parole? I mean, there's been cases. There's been cases where they shouldn't have left. I have clients that left on advance parole without contacting me, without consulting me. I have people who weren't my clients at the time they left and they became clients and I had to somehow get them back in. So there's issues, okay? You need to contact me so I can let you know the risks and my analysis of whether I think you should leave or not. Okay, I got married and applied for the green card last year in July. I meant the K1 is how I came. Oh, I remember you. Okay, sorry. Okay. If you told me you're not inadmissible in any way. So if you got married, applied for the green card, and you came on the K1, that's all good. You could have applied for advanced parole the moment you applied for the green card, like the day you applied, because it does take a few months. Yes, you can apply for advanced parole, and you should not have problems leaving. Okay, that's that. Where are you located? My office is in Long Beach, California, because I think there's a Long Beach in New Jersey. Yeah. But I have clients all over the U.S. And just like we're talking here, I do all my consults via telephone and Zoom. All of them. 100%. Okay? I mean, what difference does it make? We get to talk. We get to determine what needs to be done. And then my office does what has to be done. Okay? Can I apply for the diversity visas if I need a 601 waiver to adjust status? The answer is yes, you can apply for it. The real question is, if you win it, does it do anything for you? And the answer is no. Okay? I mean, if you need a 601A to adjust status, that means you must have a qualifying relative. You must be eligible to adjust status right now. Why would you need to do the diversity lottery? If you don't have a qualifying relative, chances are you're not going to qualify for a 601 waiver in the first place, which means if you win the diversity lottery, it doesn't mean anything. Okay? Okay. All right. Well, Jiang, you finished answering. Your advanced parole is approved. Okay. So you're welcome. Yeah. So you can leave. I mean, obviously, I cannot guarantee you that Trump's not going to do something that's going to make advanced paroles disappear. But as it stands right now, based on what you've told me, you have a good case. You're not inadmissible. You have a green card pending. All this other stuff, and you should be able to leave. Okay. How much for a consult? My firm charges 20 minutes. For 20 minutes, $250, and for 30 minutes, $350. And with that, what you do is you can pre-send me stuff to review. Not the whole file. I say that to people, and sometimes they send me 600 documents. Okay, you can just send me some documents that summarize your case to review before, so that before the consult starts, I'm already rocking and rolling. Okay. I had to look and see because they asked again how much for a consult. I live in Riverside County, and it's user with 32 numbers after it. But I just told you, okay? I mean, So it's no problem. We can do the consult telephonically, WhatsApp, Zoom, Facebook, all kinds of ways. All right, who qualifies for a 601A? Well, that's basically someone who is eligible to adjust and has a qualifying relative who will show that they'll suffer extreme hardship if they're not allowed to leave. And that would be a parent or spouse who's a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. Okay, that's the sum. All right. I think I answered all the questions here. So I think that's going to do it for today. And we'll continue. And for anybody who wants further consults, feel free to contact my office, send me messages or whatever, and I'll get back with you. Oh, thanks for the rose. I appreciate it. I like the roses. I like gifts. I appreciate it, everybody. All right, have a good day.